One of the key skills people like to learn when they're looking at wine is how to become a great wine taster. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the steps that are going to make you a wine pro. Hello and welcome to the Grape Explorer, where we celebrate the world of wine. On this channel we do wine education, product reviews and lots of tastings. So if you enjoy wine, consider subscribing. Now, I would never call myself a natural born wine taster. For the last couple of years I've been able to improve my approach to tasting by attending as many tastings as I can and really starting to learn a lot more about the different grapes and the different types of wines that we drink. It's through studying that I've really been able to improve my wine skills. And so today I'm going to share the key steps that I take when I taste a wine. Now, there are 4 steps that you need to consider when tasting a wine. We need to look at that wine, we need to smell the wine, we need to taste the wine, and we need to be able to evaluate that wine. I've got a Malbec here, which was given to me. This is a Comuna Malbec, Mendoza, Argentina, 2016. And we're going to go through the key steps that we need to take when we taste that wine. Okay, so step number 1 is look at the wine. What we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at the colour of the wine and the intensity of that colour. And that could tell us a few different things about the wine. Paler wines may come from thinner skinned grapes, for example. A purple coloured wine may be a younger wine. A tawny wine may be an older wine. So what we do is we tip our wine and we take a look against a good white background at the colour of the wine. Now, in the case of this wine, I would call this a medium ruby. So that's a ruby coloured wine with a medium intensity. I can still see my way through that glass, so I wouldn't call it deep, I would call it medium. If I could really see through that glass, I'd probably classify it as pale. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to smell that wine. Now, one of the first things we're going to do before we aerate that wine is we want to be able to judge the intensity of the aroma. So before I aerate my wine by swirling it around in the glass, I'm actually just going to smell it as is. Okay, so it's not really jumping out of the glass, but at the same time it's not really shying away. So I would classify that as a medium intensity of aroma. Now I'm going to give it a swirl. Now, swirling that wine is going to unlock the aromas in the wine. It's going to give us access to the different flavours. Now, when we're smelling the wine, we're looking at 3 different classifications of aroma. We're going to be looking at the primary aromas, which are concerned with the fruit quality coming out of that wine. We're going to be looking at the secondary aromas, which may be as a result of winemaking processes in the winery. And we may be looking for some tertiary aromas, which are the result of aging of the wine. Now, this is a 2016 Malbec, so I'm not really expecting any of those tertiary aromas, and I'm probably going to just concentrate here on the primary and secondary aromas. So let's start off with the primary. What we're going to do is we're going to give it a really good smell and really focus on what kind of fruit we can smell in the wine. Okay. Now, for me, what I'm getting is a lot of black fruit, so that would be black cherry, black plum. That's really dominating the fruit flavours there. Yeah, cherry and plum on that one. So from a primary aroma perspective, we're looking at black fruit, cherry and plum. Okay, now I'm going to see if there's any secondary flavour. Now, that might come from the winemaking processes. This wine has spent some time in oak, so let's see if we can get any of those oaky aromas on the nose. Okay, so there's definitely some sweet spice and some vanilla in that wine, which may have come from the oak during the winemaking process. Overall, I would say that the aromas are quite simple, simple black fruit, simple spice aromas. So what we're going to do now is we're going to taste that wine. When we taste the wine, we're looking for a number of different things. We want to be able to judge the alcohol levels. We want to be able to judge the acidity of the wine. We want to be able to judge the tannin, the body, the intensity of the flavours. Now, when I take a taste of wine, as you will have noticed, I like to swish it about allow some air to run over my palate and really try and unlock those flavours in the wine. What I'm getting as I taste that is I'm getting a lot of that cherry flavour that I could smell on the nose. But actually I have to say, I'm not getting much else except for that cherry flavour. The acidity is okay, the acidity is pretty good. The tannins aren't really there. It's quite a soft wine. And I would say it's medium bodied. So I'd probably say low tannin, medium acidity, medium alcohol. It's not really hitting me at the back of the throat, medium alcohol. So we'll just take another taste and see what we think. I'm going to drink that one. Yeah, definitely the cherry flavour with that one and not really much else. So the final step is to evaluate that wine. And so there's a few different things we want to look at when we evaluate that wine. We want to talk about whether the wine was balanced. Did the intensity of the aromas match the intensity of the flavours? Was the acid and tannin and alcohol in balance? And overall, I would say that's probably the case. The wine was medium intensity on the aroma. It was medium intensity on the palate. That cherry flavour carried through. The acidity of the tannins and the alcohol aren't particularly high, but they do remain balanced. From a length perspective, I'd probably give it half a mark if I had to give it a mark. It's still lingering a little bit. Intensity, I don't think there's much intensity in the flavour in this particular wine. And from a complexity point of view, I don't think it was necessarily that complex either. Overall, I would say at this price point, this wine is good. It's definitely something you can enjoy. You can enjoy it with food or without. So overall, this was a good wine. And those are the key steps that you take when you taste. You look, you smell, you taste, you evaluate. So how about you tell me some of your tips and techniques when it comes to tasting? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm the Grape Explorer and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Cheers.